This is Geometry Lesson 1-14. I am whispering because it is 9:47 p.m. and both my wife and son are asleep. Alright, so some announcements before we begin the notes. First of all, classcraft. Because today you have a sub, and for all future cases where you have subs, everything that happens today in terms of behavior is multiplied by 2. So if you get an HP deduction, it's multiplied by 2. If you get XP, it is multiplied by 2. So just be careful of that. Also, I'm going to leave everyone in the same group. Right now, everyone is on the same team, I guess aside from Leo. I don't know what that is. I'll go ahead and change that in a sec. Sorry about that, Leo. But you guys should be able to heal each other and give each other AP. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to change it back to the way that it was. Other news, in terms of our schedule for our class, so here we are on the 26th. We have 5 days here, 5 days here, and 5 days here. So by the time you get to the 14th, you have gone for 15 days. The 17th, we have class like normal on that day. 18, 19, and 20, all 3 of these days are finals, which means you have 16 days in order to get your grade where you want it to be. That means retaking quizzes that you can retake, retaking tests, getting missing assignments in. You have 16 days to get your grade where it needs to be before you take your final. I don't know if your final is going to be on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. It's going to be one of those days, and of course the 21st is our Christmas party. Alright, let's go ahead and begin with notes. Alright, so line of reflection. We've talked about this in the past, but here's your definition. This is the perpendicular bisector. Let me say the perpendicular bisector of the pre-image and image. Okay, so what does this mean in ordinary English? It means that if I have the pre-image, some point, and I have some image, the second point after you do some transformation, if I connect a line between the pre-image and the image, a perpendicular perpendicular bisector between those 2 points is the line of reflection. Okay, so we'll come back to this definition in a sec, but I want to show you how to do the notation. Remember that the notation for rotation was a capital R with 2 symbols at the point of rotation and how the theta, how much you're rotating. Now we have a lowercase r, so that lowercase r right here means reflection. Reflection. And this L here, it is an L, not a 1. That's the line that you're reflecting across. So that's the line of reflection. Some point P, it can be anything that you put in here. It can be a shape, it can be a point, but you have some point P, that's the pre-image, and then P prime is the image. So I guess you can say pre-image is P, and then the image is P prime. So that's the notation. We'll be using that in the future too. So just try to get used to it as much as you can. There's only one fact that you really need to know. If I'm reflecting across a line L on P, it's the same point. If, and then take a guess here, when is the same point after reflection? And if you think it's on the same line of reflection, you would be correct. So if I'm on this line L and I reflect over line L, I'm still at that same point. So I need to say that if I go to the same point, that means I am, if P is on L, that's something like there, is on L. And L again is the line of reflection because we have that right here in our notes, line of reflection. And those are separate. Let me try to keep those separate like that. Alright, so let's go to example 1. And I need a compass for this, so I'm going to switch programs here. Let's come over here to Notebook. So I need to construct the line of reflection. So hopefully you've already grabbed a protractor and a straight edge because we're going to be needing it for the rest of the lesson. So let's go ahead and pull that up here. Alright, so I have my compass. So I'm going to take the pre-image and image. I can take any points I want. I could do C, C prime, D, D prime. I'm just going to choose B, B prime because it'll look clearest on my paper. So the first step is to draw a line between B and B prime. I'm going to make my line, sure, let's just do everything in red, and I want to make it slightly skinnier. So B to B prime. You've done that. Okay, you can pause the video, so I'm just going to go on. Oop. So what I want to do now is I want to make the perpendicular bisector of that line, and that will be the line of reflection. We're done. So perpendicular bisector, you know how to do that. You need to put your compass on one end. You need to move this out at least halfway. If I come around like this, wait, can I go like this? Ooh, fancy, okay. So if I rotate, this needs to be at least halfway, so I'm going to make it a little bit longer like that. And then I'm going to move this out. I'm going to make a tick mark out here. I'm going to move this over here to make a tick mark down here. And then I'm going to move this to, maybe I'll do it like this. Go upside down. So I've now put it at B, and it's the same length. I haven't moved it up or down, and I'm going to figure out where my intersection is, which is right there. Come down here to my intersection down here, which looks right there. And I'm done with you. Let's just throw him to the side. So that is my line of reflection if I connect those points. So I'm going to come back here, still have my red line. Well, let's just change it to blue. So this is now my line of reflection is from that intersection through that intersection, and I can actually make this slightly longer like that. There is my line of reflection. It's that blue line, and you can check to make sure that's correct by doing the same thing for A prime or C prime. You'll get the same line because this is the same line for all of the imaged and pre-image. It's the perpendicular bisector. That's the definition of the line of reflection. All right, let's scroll down here to examples 2 and 3. We're doing the same thing over and over for these guys. Oops. So let's come down here, construct the lines of reflection. So first step, I need to pick a pair of points and then make a perpendicular bisector. I'm just randomly going to say A to A prime. Sure, looks good to me. I'll start in red. We'll just kind of color code this thing, A to A prime. So it's a little bit diagonal here. Notice it's not straight up and down, it's not vertical. And I need my compass. So let's move my compass so that one edge, or the tip of it, is on point A, and this needs to be way shorter. It can be exactly at A, that's at least halfway, sure. It could be here, it could be here, here. I'm just going to decide to put it there. Why not? I know it's going to be roughly right there, because I know about halfway on here, it's going to look somewhere out there. And then come out here, roughly halfway is somewhere right there. And then again, I need to move him down to point A to make the intersection, which looks to be right there, and come down here. Here's my intersection down here. Okay, so let's move the protractor away. We'll need him for 3. I'll leave him over there. And if I draw a line through those two intersections, then I have my line of reflection. Let's go ahead and switch back to blue. And if I draw a line from here to here, and I'll go ahead and extend this line to the left a little bit too. Oop, it's not going through the intersection. It has to be precise. There it is. There is my line of reflection. You can see, like, just visually check it. Yeah, that looks like if I were a mirror, if this blue line was a mirror, it looks like that would be the case. Let's try it for example 3, and then that's going to be the last type of this, and then we're going to do a new type for example 4. So this one doesn't have letter points, but I can tell that this point here is the same as this point here. So this is the pre-image, and then this would be the image. So I'm going to connect those 2 points together to make my line. So again, I'm going to switch to red. I'm going to say from this point here to this point here, that is my line segment that I want to perpendicularly bisect. From there, you should be able to do this. Go ahead and pause the video now, do it, and you can watch the video in like ×2 speed or something to see if I do it correct or if you did it correct. Alright, so you've unpaused the video now. Let's go ahead and do this thing. So here, this needs to be at least halfway. It looks like it's at least halfway. Go ahead and make a tick mark somewhere out there, a tick mark somewhere out here. Move the protractor to the other edge, the other vertex to the image. There's that intersection. There's that intersection. Oop, we're done with you for now. And go ahead and make your line. So my line, I'm going to switch back to blue between here and here. Shrink, and I'm going to, of course, extend this line this way as well. Alright, there's my line of reflection. Visual check, yeah, looks about right. Alright, so we're on to the back side. I should be here in your paper flip over. We're on example 4, so construct the reflection of triangle ABC over DE. This is different because now they gave us the line of reflection. We actually need to use it to make a reflection, and this is a lot of work, so bear with me. We're going to go through this. There's a video. You can replay it as many times as you want. So the general idea is pretend that we only have point A. Forget B, C, forget all of these line segments. Pretend you only have point A and line segment DE. Does it look familiar? Do you remember way in the past where you just have one point and we need to make a perpendicular bisector through that point? That's essentially what you're doing over and over again. So let's see if we remember how to do that. The first step is to make a circle around A that intersects D and E at least one time. So let's go ahead and bring back our protractor tool. I'm going to put the metal end on A. I'm going to drag this so it intersects DE at least twice, so you can see that it'll intersect here and here. Looks good. So once right there, doesn't need to be a full circle, and once right there. Alright, so now I have 2 points and I can mark those if I want. So I can come down here and say, sure, that's 1 point. Ooh, this is a little bit too thick of a line. Let's make it nice and thin like that. So that's my first point, that's my second point. Now those 2 points, I need to make a line that goes from, or a circle around this point, a circle around this point, and wherever they intersect, that's going to be a perpendicular bisector. It doesn't really matter how big those circles are. I think the best way to do it personally is to have it the same length between one of the points in A. For example, if I put this tip right here, and let's drag this, oh, it's already exactly to point A. Well, that makes sense because it's the same distance. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle. You can see that there's an intersection right there, which is perfect. And if I come over here, there should be some intersection point down here. I realize that's a skinnier line. That's actually probably better. Let's go ahead and move the metal end to the other point. And you'll see that there's an intersection right here. And come back up here, you'll see that it intersects at A because, oops, come on now. Don't know where you're not working. There it goes. So it goes through A. It's a little bit off. It's kind of annoying. It should be more perfect. I think there's kind of a human error down here because the lines were so thick. But if I come back here and make a line, let's go ahead and make it, sure, blue. We'll make it as skinny as possible from here on out. So that means that this point down here is the reflected point A. So A is the pre-image. This point down here, I'm going to label it. Nice. Yeah, let's go to, I'm just feeling red again. Yep, all that's good. So this point right here that we just found, that's going to be A prime. Why does the thickness change on me again? It should be, there, it should be A prime. Sure, that's that point right there. Alright, and I think that's the reason why. I still don't know why the thickness is not changing. You have to do that same procedure over and over. So let's go ahead and do it for B. First, you're going to move your compass so that the metal tip is on B. It has to be really exact. Okay, that's close enough. Come on. There we go. I'm going to move this so it intersects at least 2 times. You can see that there's 1 intersection there, 2 intersections there. So I want to change the color of this guy to black again. So if I make an intersection right there, you can see that there I have 1 intersection. Over here I have my second intersection. Perfect. So we don't need you anymore. Let's move you off to the side. Perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually I'm going to use you right away. So I don't even need to label this point. I just need to find the intersection, which is right there, and make a line out here. You'll notice that if I rotate this around, it goes exactly through B. I can just make a tick mark there. Don't know why it's not drawing a line. Come on now, there it goes. and move the end over here to the intersection point, and again it should go exactly through B, and it does. Perfect. And if I scroll down through here, rotate it down, you'll see that there is our intersection point, there is our B prime. So let's go ahead and label that. Let's label this B prime. B prime. And you have to do the same procedure for C. So here we go. You should be able to do it by yourself by now, so go ahead and pause the video and you can use this to check your work. Alright, so you've unpaused the video. First step is to put this end on C. I need 2 points, doesn't need to be that far. Let's just go ahead and make them right here and rotate this. Ooh, I can't go over here unless I extend the line, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to do. That means I'm going to go like that. So let me undo that drawing and yep, so it's going to have to be really darn close. So we're going to have to be careful here because this needs to intersect the line at least twice. So I'm going to draw my line right there. It's going to be really tricky, guys. Through E, and I also need it to come up here. Okay, so this one's going to be really challenging. I guess another way to do this is to extend this line DE, so this line comes out to the right farther to make this circle a little bit easier to see. You can see that the slope of these lines is getting skinnier and skinnier. This one is a lot clearer than this one. Anyway, I know that one of my points is exactly E, so I'm going to come here and draw my line, and again, just checking my work, this does come through point C. I can just go ahead and draw that for us. And from there, oh my gosh, I'm going to mess everything up. And I need to make this intersection exactly there. Let's go ahead and, uh-oh, this is a problem. I need to rotate this so I can actually grab it. Come on, perfectly right there. And you can see that it does go exactly through C. It also goes down through here, so let's go ahead and make those marks. Come through here, they come through there. It's close enough. I'll give us the points for that. And then I need to label this point C prime. Whew, okay, that was a lot of work, I know. But by doing that, these 3 points, if I connect those with lines, segments, they'll be the same shape as this reflected over the line. So here I come with my line tool. Let's just go ahead. I'm feeling like this color. I think that might be green. Sure, that thickness, good enough. So I connect A prime to B prime. I connect, I'll change that later, B prime to C prime, and I connect C prime back to A prime. And I'm going to come back here and fix this line right here. Alright, so there is my triangle reflected over this line DE. And you have to do the whole process again with example 5. And example 5 is harder, well, not necessarily harder, but definitely a little bit more work because there's 4 points to do instead of 3 points. So give it a shot on your own, and then you can unpause the video after you've tried it. Alright, so I assume that you've unpaused the video now and you've given it a good shot, if not done it all the way. Let's see how fast we can do this now that we're experts, or relative experts at this. So I'm going to start with A and then just go from there. So I need this to intersect the circle multiple times, so I'm just going to choose, we can do really big points if we want. So I'm going to make this come all the way out to E basically. Right to E, sure. And come on now, draw a line. Draw a line. Why you no draw? There you go. And come out here to right there. There's my other tick mark. And then I just need to move this guy to those intersection points. Good enough. And I know that it's going to go through A, so I'm going to skip that step. It's going to come out here somewhere. And then through that intersection point right there. Oh no, I need to draw it farther. Darn it. Okay, I'm going to come back here. Oops. and this line is going to be continuing on right there. Cool, so there's my point. I'm going to label that before I forget that this is A prime. Okay, let's do B prime next. So, moving to B, I have to make sure that I have two intersection points. Let's go ahead and do all of this in red so we can color code this thing. If I color code this in red, that means that this, again, I'm just going to choose E because it's a nice point. So this is going through E, so I'm making this red line through E, and where's the other point going to be? Right there. Okay, so now I need to move my compass right on that point, come out here somewhere in red, and move this through the other intersection on red, and you can see that it's going to intersect right about there. Cool, cool. So let's go ahead and say out here this is going to be called B prime, and I need to do C next. So let's move this to C. Oh, I can make a really big circle if I want. Should I go through E again? It doesn't matter. It just needs to intersect any two random points. So I'm going to do a random other point that doesn't go through E. I'm feeling blue. Not really feeling blue, but I want the color blue. Sure, right there. Same length. Nice and easy. Come through there. Another point right through there. Cool, cool. And then I'm going to come to this intersection and make a point somewhere out here, about halfway. I need to rotate this before I move it. Make this intersection right there, and there you are. So let's go ahead and label this guy. That was C prime. C prime. And finally I need to do D. So I guess I will do D in a new color. Let's choose, I don't know, do we do green yet? I think we have not done green yet. Okay, I think that's green anyway. Okay, so I'm going to come here, and we'll just keep it all the same length. Ooh, that'll get confusing. I'm going to make it slightly bigger. Let's go, yeah, sure, new intersection point out there, and one right here as well. Okay, so hopefully I am remembering my color correctly. There's this one right there, somewhere out here. And kind of a trick for what I'm doing here, I know that it's going to be somewhere between here and here, roughly halfway. So I just need to make sure that the distance, which is right about here, has a tick mark. I'm not just randomly making these. I am kind of using a little bit of logic, and I assume you're kind of doing the same thing. All right, there's the intersection right there. Close enough. And there's my intersection point, right about halfway. And let's go ahead and label it before I forget. This is D prime. We'll make it D prime like that. Cool. Now I have all of my points. I didn't actually make them points. They're the intersection marks. But I just connect those points. I'm going to connect them with, what color should I use? Colors are hard. I don't know. What is that? Teal? Connect all of those with lines. Oh, I want this to be a thinner line because it'll be more exact. Nice and 0.5 pencil or something like that. So there to there, there to there, D prime to C prime to B prime, and B prime to A prime. And I guess if it was a little bit thicker, it would be easier to see the actual reflection, but you can just kind of eyeball this. Yeah, it looks about correct. All right, that concludes our lesson. Go ahead and write your summary now, and after you finish your summary, then the substitute will hand out the worksheet.